The basic duty of an assistant is to help classroom and water training activities flow smoothly by facilitating the instructor's tasks and helping the students. In exchange, assistants benefit by learning as much as possible from the experienced NAUI members for whom they provide training support. Virtually all NAUI instructors gained their skills while assisting a mentor. NAUI's Standards and Policies Manual defines a certified assistant as an individual who has completed a designated NAUI course and registered with NAUI to include instructor, a skin diving instructor with scuba certification, training assistant, assistant instructor, or dive master. As you can see, many individuals can serve in the role of assistant during a course. In NAUI's entry-level diver training course, Scuba Diver, if one active status NAUI instructor is present, total class size is limited to 8 students during the open water training of that course, an 8-to-1 ratio. Adding one active status assistant, the permissible number of scuba diver students becomes 10. Assistants are powerful role models for the students with whom they interact. An assistant's behavior is also a potent model of appropriate leadership conduct for future divers, some of whom will try to become leaders themselves. Whether they choose to emulate you and your instructor by pursuing NAUI leadership training depends on you. Your skills, attitudes, and enthusiasm for diving and all it entails will strongly influence their current learning, future behavior, and ultimately the viability and reputation of NAUI. While serving as an assistant, you will be expected to help the instructor with logistical support, remedial tutoring, and classroom presentations as appropriate to your status, ability, and training progress. In order for a coordinated, mutually beneficial relationship to develop, assistants and instructors should define duties and responsibilities before beginning classes. Successfully negotiating a working relationship depends on communication and planning. Assistants are in a singular position to serve as a liaison between dive classes and instructors. They can achieve this by taking the time and effort to establish rapport with each student. These conversations may occur in an individual or small group tutoring session, for instance, or even outside of class time. NAUI instructors work hard to make classroom instruction informative and entertaining. Each successful session is the result of careful preparation and planning. But even the most organized person can only fully focus on one task at a time. Assistants should consider bringing essential extra items that are frequently needed and often forgotten or consumed. They may assemble a collection of pens, pencils, chalk and eraser, whiteboard markers and eraser, grease pencils, USB flash drives, presentation file backups, spare projector bulbs, extension cord, electrical plug adapter, a pointer, writing paper, paper towels, facial tissues, even change for vending machines. Any one of these items can often save the day. Assistants help in several ways while classroom sessions are in progress. They may take an active part in instruction by working with individual students or small groups, working out problems in areas like dive profiling, air consumption calculations, and dive table or dive computer usage in this manner is very effective. If the instructor is working with a whole group, an assistant can pitch in by grading written exams, preparing teaching materials, or with other tasks as requested by the instructor. There is rarely a time that an alert assistant cannot find something that just needs doing. Assistants may teach any topic during academic classes for which they have previously demonstrated competence, or as they develop, while supervised by a NAUI instructor. This opportunity to gain formal teaching and public speaking experience is a chief benefit of assisting. Such teaching affords the assistant a chance to have their techniques evaluated by a professional, and is also an excellent opportunity for instructors to observe and assess new methods and styles. Instructors are most likely to assign teaching topics to assistants in advance, especially at the outset of their training relationship. It is recommended that assistants ensure their own success by preparing and rehearsing their presentation. The presence of an assistant in the water is even more valuable to the training process than in the classroom. Besides providing an extra margin of security to students by their vigilance and training, an assistant's helpful presence can maximize the entire group's learning. Assistants should remember that training in confined water has inherent risk, as does any other diving activity, and should certainly be treated with the same seriousness. Assistants should help students gear up as directed by the instructor and may be asked to make pre-entry equipment checks. An assistant can be of immediate help to the instructor during pool training by allowing the number of students to be increased in accordance with NAUI standards. But the greatest value of assistants during any water training is the increased guardianship they provide. Good assistants are an instructor's extra eyes and ears, enhancing safety by helping to maintain control and observing student development. Assistants are usually the official demonstrators for students. Instructors usually teach skills to students, but may have assistants demonstrate the skills. The open water phase of dive instruction is obviously the most important and sensitive, and requires the most planning and assistance. You will receive worthwhile experience every time you help with a training dive. But of all the ways assistants help during open water instruction, recognizing potential problems is the most valuable. If problems do occur, keen awareness on an assistant's part will detect them early so they can be corrected before they escalate. Site preparation remains one of a useful assistant's primary duties. They may help unload training equipment and organize the dive preparation area. When students arrive, they may be asked to help ensure that students are in gear and ready to dive on time, conduct equipment inspections, and prepare and maintain the dive roster. Under the guidance of the instructor, an assistant can also present parts of the pre-dive briefing. Assistants are valuable at every point in open water training. They may commence the activity by demonstrating entry techniques, provide entry supervision, assist with weighting and buoyancy checks, and escort students on the surface to the training area. An assistant can be charged with monitoring all surface activities. They may be tasked to deal with students experiencing difficulties that require them to abort the dive. Assistants should be certain that the affected students are buoyant at the surface and remain in close or even direct contact with them until they are safely ashore or back in the boat. During skill performance evaluations, excellent buoyancy control and hovering skills are needed to constantly be in an agreed-to position that allows intervention in the event of a problem. Typically, an assistant hovers just out of sight and slightly above the student, performing a mask clear as an example. In this way, if the student panics and gets away from the instructor, the assistant is in position to prevent a runaway ascent. The primary duty of all NAUI leaders is the safety and security of their students. Following the completion of the dive, assistants may perform many useful leadership activities, such as checking the dive roster, reorganizing the group for a debriefing, documenting skill performance and reviewing logbook entries, and helping with students' air consumption and dive table calculations. Assistants can also participate in debriefings with the students and contribute their observations at the instructor's direction.